Alright everybody, so here is an update since the Diatom video. I've been doing a lot of work on the tank the past 3 days. One of the things is not because of the Diatoms, but because I've noticed some of the Euphyllia retracted a little bit. Not as happy as they have been. So I've been paying close attention to them real good the past couple days and nights, using a real high intense LED at night to inspect the coral when it's closed up a little bit. And I found a flatworm on one of my torches. Everything else seemed okay, visually anyway, and the actual torch that I found it on was the first torch I ever got. I would say I got that torch almost a year ago. So I dipped it in my regular coral dip that I use, the Tropic Marin Pro Coral Cure, and that's how I always dip my corals. I always give them a good inspection, a toothbrush, a scrapage, and so I didn't know what was going on. So then I went the extent and I used the Bayer Advanced Insect Dip method. The method I used at first was 80 milliliters of the Bayer and 1/2 gallon of salt water. And I did a yellow hammer and I did a green octospawn, and they're still a little irritated right now, but then I upped it a little bit for a torch that I actually found the flatworm on, and I did 100 milliliters of Bayer insect stuff, and I did 1/2 gallon of salt water, and I got 5 little baby flatworms off this torch. Now, I did the dip about 3 hours ago, and let me change this. There we go. So 3 hours later, this hammer, this yellow hammer, is not looking too good. This is actually how it's been looking the past, I would say, week. Same with this octospawn. So, they've been looking like this for a long time, and I figured, you know what, I gotta give it a shot. Hopefully I don't lose them, but we'll see. I know sometimes it takes a couple days for them to come back out again, so they're gonna stay right here at the bottom of the sand bed, and we'll see how they're doing. On the other hand, this is the torch that I dipped, same time, and this is the one that I used, the 100 milliliters, and it's happy just like it's been. Now, this one here was never showing signs of being unhappy, but this is where I did see the flatworm. So this one got the Bayer dip, and that stuff works. So there's a couple other corals that I've been watching. These 2 green frog spawns here are usually so puffy and big they're hitting each other. So these two might come off the rock and get a quick dip. This torch down here is definitely getting a dip for sure. The other torches seem to be doing well. This one here has been irritated lately, but at nighttime I've noticed it's splitting, so it's trying real hard to divide into 2 heads. So that, I believe, is just some growing pains on that. And then one of my favorite hammer over here, which usually you can't even see the stalks. Well, obviously, here they are. So this one hasn't been doing well either. This one was a tough one to mount, so I'm actually going to wait and see how the other hammer responded to the dip before I go ahead and throw this big sucker in there. I have moved a couple corals around. This purple peach one here has found a permanent home. The monster Duncan is down here for now. It's getting picked up next week. The other Duncan is over here. It's getting picked up next week. I went to the store today to actually look for some coral dip. They didn't have any in stock. Oh, real quick, off topic. You guys can see this head. It's just not doing well. It's not growing right there. I might actually cut it off in case there's some kind of infection in it, because the rest of the coral is gorgeous except for that spot. So I'm going to actually try and chip away at it with the bone snipper in place, because that sucker was a real nightmare to glue. So anyway, I went to the store today and I picked up, nope, not Euphyllia, acans. I was in a pink vibe today, so got myself 4 new acans. They weren't looking too good in their tank, but if I can get them to bounce back like I have my acans, I'm sure these suckers will be just fine, and they are going to throw some nasty pink color in the tank. Because, you know, there's one, he hasn't been too happy either. He might be getting a bear dip as well, but all the other guys have been okay. I was working on this this yellow-orange one here the other day, and I damaged it pretty bad. So I'm hoping it's going to stay alive and bounce back. When I took it off the plug, it had some really strong glue on it. I like using the dollar store glue because when you want to remove it from something, it's real easy. When you use the good, you know, aquarium glue, the corals don't want to, you know, come off. And I actually ripped its mouths right off, except for 2. I can actually see right through the coral, like looking through a peephole. But and in this one coral here that was on the plug from the store, I kept it because you could see here it was growing. So you never know. Maybe I'm gonna give this a little shot here, give it a month or so. But everything else is okay, except for these guys that I dipped. This one right here, he hasn't been fluffy, so possibility he's getting a dip too. So, but these 2 were the guinea pigs. I'm pretty sure they were on their way out the door anyway, because when your coral looks like that for a week, something's wrong, obviously. Now, when I did do the bear dip, I got no insects, no bugs. All I got was one little copepod that came off and died. But like I said, this green one here had about 5 little flatworms on it. So now on to the diatom issue that I was having before. This powerhead was a 600 gallons per hour, and I changed the impeller. It's now an 850 gallons per hour. The back 2 powerheads, don't mind all the dirtiness, by the way. I just did my wall cleaning and blew all the detritus off the rocks and stuff, so it's pretty dirty in here right now. But anyway, these 2 back powerheads were 425 gallons per hour, and I upped them to 600 gallons per hour each of them. So I brought the tank up, I think it was like something like 450 to 500 gallons per hour higher, and a lot of the brown diatoms have disappeared. So, you know, low flow, everybody hates it for a reason, because algae hates low flow, or algae loves low flow. So there's one little spot here, which is obviously a little dead spot because it's acan heaven over here. But even under the rocks, look at all the diatoms are gone. Nice white sand. And then the only brown left is over here, where there's probably not a whole lot of flow underneath, because I got a lot of coral going on right here, all stacked up. And then you can see some in the back corner back there, right here, just this side. So I don't have very many diatoms left. Up in the flow helped a lot, so I'm glad I didn't have to go and get something to dose and try to cure this and try to cure that. Just jacked my flow up a little bit, and by the way the corals are moving, I could probably go a little higher with my flow if I wanted to. I'm not really worried about it. They got a lot of good movement, a lot of good flow, but I'm not going to do anything until I finish dipping the corals, give them their permanent homes, and then get rid of the other corals that were getting picked up next week. I'm actually donating them to somebody. I didn't sell them. They're not Euphyllia or an acan, so they have to go. But fish are doing good still. But yeah, everything else seems to be doing well. So that's it. So had a little bit of a coral issue. We're going to keep posted on that to see how these are doing. Like I said, I am going to dip a couple more torches. At least this one I'm going to dip in these 2 frog spawns for sure. See what happens. And keep you posted on the growth of the acans. There they are. So mark it down how they look now. We'll see how they look in a month. I'm sure they'll be getting like to these guys. I just scraped the glass too, which upset me because this guy was completely covering the disc and this one was covering the disc. It's crazy how much smaller they get with just a little bit of irritation. But so stay tuned. And then yep, curing the diatoms. All I had to do in my tank anyway was increase my flow, and you can see there's good flow at the bottom of the tank. Everything's moving in the breeze. Not so much right here, and then not a whole lot of movement right here, but I got a lot of good movement over here, and it's nice and clear. So thanks for tuning in, and we're going to do another 3-day update on the diatom issue and these corals. Alright, see you guys.